Hi guys, this is Mr. Craw. So this week's assignment is from page 8 in the book. And the main idea on page 8 is to teach you how to play the 8th rest. So on the screen here I have a really basic rhythm, and you could sing this to yourself, but it goes something like this. Do, 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 do. Go ahead and try that on your own. Ready, say. Easy, right? Now, either one of these 8th rests, let's see, either one of these, this one or this one, either one of those 8th notes can turn into a rest. So let's go ahead and take this first 8th rest out of the picture. And if I rewrote that so it looked like silence, it would look like this. So you can see this 8th note that we're taking out right here has now become this 8th rest. That's going to be silence. And this leftover 8th note here that was originally connected to the first 8th note just comes down here on its own as a single 8th note. You know that it's a single 8th note because it has a single flag attached to the stem. So if we were to go ahead and say this rhythm on do, you're just going to leave this note out. That's going to be here, and it sounds like this. Do, 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 do. I want you to notice that the beat happens right here. Once again, it's do, 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 do. It's a pretty big event that this silence happens right here on the beat, and the counting would be 1, 2, and 4. Beat 3 would be silence. Try that once on your own. 1, 2, ready, say. Hopefully you said do, 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 do. Make sure you keep track of the beat. Tapping your toe is really important here. Now obviously if we can put an 8th rest on the first 8th note, we could also put an 8th rest during the second 8th note. And that's what this looks like. So here we have the second 8th note is crossed out, and it would sound like this. Do, 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 do. Just silence on the and of 3. It looks like this. So here's our rhythm up above, written out with the 8th rest. Sounds like this. Do, 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 do. Notice that this whole group here, it takes the entire beat. So the first half of the beat is sound, and the second half of the beat is silence. You might also notice that this sound right here sounds like this. Doot. Sounds an awful lot like this sound here, which is a staccato quarter note. A staccato quarter note is going to sound exactly the same as 8th note, 8th rest. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples in your music on page 8. Right off the bat here on number 30, they're showing you an 8th rest on the beat. And again, what that means is the 8th rest that happened in this exercise right here and right here are exactly on the beat. So in the case of measure 2, you have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 8th rest is on 3. And in measure 4, you have 1, 2, and 3, 4. 8th rest is on beat 2. Your toe will tap down on each of those 8th rests because they happen exactly on the beat. So number 30 sounds like this. Do, 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 do. And it's a really good idea to pat your lap and say the rhythm on do before you attempt it on your instrument. When you do play it on your instrument, really make sure you tap your toe and you know right what your toe is going to do on every beat. So again, if you can imagine this snap is your toe, or this is you patting your lap, 30 sounds like this. Do, 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 do. Give that a try a couple times and make sure that you tap your toe on those two 8th rests. Okay, next up we have number 31, and we're going to be doing the eighth rest off the beat. Or another way of thinking that is the eighth note, the sound part, is on the beat. And again, you kind of have to group these symbols together. An eighth note goes with an eighth rest, half of a beat of sound with half of a beat of silence, and that makes the entire beat. You can see pretty clearly in measure 2. Here's all 4 beats in that measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, if you remember from just a couple minutes ago, a eighth note, eighth rest is going to sound exactly like a staccato quarter note. So this type of eighth rest is pretty easy. So 31 sounds like this. Do, 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 do. Give that a try. Okay, and finally you're going to need to apply both of those types of rhythms, the eighth rest on the beat and the eighth rest off the beat, in order to perform number 32 and number 34. Now start with number 32 and definitely make sure you learn how part A goes. You'll notice part A doesn't have any eighth rest in it, and it's not a difficult melody to learn. Make sure you know that really well. When you start working on part B and C, you can see that these two parts really go together, and if you combine B and C as a duet, it should sound like part A. Part B uses a lot of eighth rests off the beat. These are all eighth rests off the beat. In other words, they sound exactly like staccato quarter notes. And part C has a lot of these eighth rests that are on the beat, where you have to step on the eighth rest. So that'll take a little bit of work to figure out those rhythms. On 34, Yankee Doodle, again, you get the same kind of idea, but they didn't give you a fully written out Yankee Doodle melody. If you combine A and B at the same time, you get Yankee Doodle. This one has some really tough rhythms in it, though. If you look at the very first measure, you have a combination of eighth rest off the beat, immediately followed by the eighth rest on the beat. So your first step in figuring these out is to pat the beat and just say it on do. So 34 part A would be doot, 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 and so on. Part B would be doot, 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 and so on. Give your best shot with these. It's going to take a couple weeks to figure out eighth rest. They're a little bit tricky. The more you do, the better you get. Let me know if you have any questions.